Clay pots are not just about looks, they actually change how your plants grow and breathe. If you have ever overwatered a plant and wondered why it struggled, the pot might be the reason. Clay pulls out excess moisture, keeps roots cooler, and helps plants grow tougher over time. Some indoor plants thrive in this setup, and honestly look better doing it. These are the plants that enjoy steady airflow around their roots instead of soggy soil. You will notice stronger stems, healthier leaves, and fewer root problems with the right match. I pick plants that adapt well to clay pots and still stay easy to manage indoors. Let's get into the ones that truly perform better when grown in simple clay containers. Watermelon Peperomia is a great match for clay pots because it likes evenly dry soil and steady airflow around the roots. Its shallow root system stays healthier in breathable clay, since terracotta can release nearly 20% more moisture than plastic over a week. This plant naturally stores water in its thick leaves, so it does better when excess moisture escapes instead of sitting in the soil. Clay pots help prevent root rot, which is one of the top causes of failure with Peperomia indoors. You will also see stronger leaf texture and better color when the roots are not constantly wet. It prefers bright indirect light and light watering, which lines up perfectly with how clay dries out faster. Over time, the plant grows compact and balanced instead of leggy or stressed. This is one of those plants that actually rewards you for using the right pot instead of just surviving. African violet works extremely well in clay pots because it prefers soil that dries slightly between waterings while still staying airy. Clay naturally reduces excess moisture, and that matters since African violet roots are thin and sensitive to soggy conditions. Studies on indoor flowering plants show that improved soil aeration can increase bloom consistency by up to 30%, and clay helps create that balance. The pot also keeps root temperatures more stable, which supports longer flowering cycles indoors. With bright indirect light and careful bottom watering, this plant stays compact and blooms more frequently. Clay pots also reduce salt buildup, which is a common reason African violets stop flowering. Over time you get stronger crowns and richer leaf texture instead of soft, drooping growth. This is a plant that performs best when the pot works with it, instead of against it. Air plant is a smart choice for clay pots, because clay naturally regulates moisture and air, which matches how this plant grows in the wild. These plants absorb water and nutrients through their leaves, and rely on airflow more than soil. Clay helps moisture evaporate faster after misting, which reduces the risk of rot by a large margin compared to glass or plastic displays. Research on Tillandsia shows better leaf firmness and color when humidity drops naturally instead of staying trapped. A clay pot also stays cooler, which protects the plant during warm indoor conditions. Place it in bright filtered light and mist 2 to 3 times a week depending on room dryness. You will notice stronger trichomes and better shape when airflow stays consistent. This setup keeps the plant healthy without forcing it into unnatural conditions. Haworthia is almost made for clay pots because it hates sitting in wet soil and prefers roots that can breathe. Clay dries faster than plastic, which lowers the risk of rot by a big margin, and rot is the #1 killer of Haworthia indoors. Its compact root system stays healthier when moisture escapes naturally, instead of staying trapped around the base. This plant comes from rocky, dry regions, where airflow around roots is constant, and clay mimics that environment well. With bright indirect light and light watering every 10 to 14 days, it stays firm and slow growing. Clay also helps keep soil temperature stable, which prevents stress during hot indoor afternoons. Over time, the leaves stay thicker and more defined instead of soft and stretched. This is one of those plants that looks tougher and lives longer simply because the pot matches its nature. Tradescantia grows better in clay pots because it likes evenly moist soil without staying wet for too long. Clay pulls out extra water fast, which matters, since this plant has soft stems that rot easily in soggy soil. Indoor growth trials show Tradescantia roots develop faster when soil dries slightly between waterings instead of staying constantly damp. The breathable pot also encourages stronger trailing growth and fuller color along the vines. With bright indirect light and moderate watering, the plant spreads faster and looks more balanced. Clay keeps roots cooler, which helps during warm rooms and sunny windows. Over time you get thicker stems and fewer bare patches along the trails. This plant does not just survive in clay pots, it actually grows more confidently and looks healthier overall. Aloe is one of the best plants for clay pots because it needs fast drainage and dry roots to stay healthy. Clay naturally releases excess moisture, which can reduce root rot risk by more than half compared to plastic containers. Aloe stores water in its thick leaves, so wet soil actually weakens it over time. A breathable pot keeps roots firm and supports slower, stronger growth instead of fast, watery leaves. With With bright light and watering every 2 to 3 weeks, aloe stays compact and upright. Clay also keeps the soil cooler, which protects roots during hot indoor temperatures. You will notice thicker leaves and better color when moisture levels stay controlled. This plant thrives when the pot helps it stay dry, rather than forcing constant moisture. String of pearls does especially well in clay pots, because its thin roots and trailing stems are extremely sensitive to excess moisture. Clay dries faster than plastic, which helps prevent rot that affects this plant more than 50% of the time indoors. The plant stores water in each bead, so soggy soil causes the pearls to burst and soften over time. A breathable pot keeps moisture balanced and allows air to reach the roots naturally. With bright indirect light and watering only when the soil is fully dry, the plant stays plump and evenly spaced. Clay also keeps the root zone cooler, which supports steady growth instead of sudden collapse. You will see firmer beads and longer trailing vines when the pot works with the plant. This is one plant where the right container makes a visible difference fast. English ivy grows more reliably in clay pots, because it prefers evenly moist soil without water sitting around the roots. Clay helps excess moisture escape, which reduces root rot and fungal issues that affect ivy in indoor settings. Studies on container plants show improved root oxygen levels in porous pots, and ivy responds with stronger vine growth and healthier leaves. The pot also stabilizes soil temperature, which matters, since ivy roots react quickly to heat stress indoors. With bright indirect light and moderate watering, the plant stays dense instead of thin and leggy. Clay reduces salt buildup from fertilizers, which keeps leaf tips from browning over time. You end up with longer trailing vines and better leaf color instead of constant decline. This is a classic houseplant that performs better when airflow and moisture stay balanced. Rosemary is a strong candidate for clay pots, because it prefers dry roots and excellent airflow similar to its Mediterranean origins. Clay allows moisture to escape faster, which prevents root rot and keeps the plant firm instead of limp. Research on herb cultivation shows rosemary grown in breathable containers develops stronger root structure and higher oil concentration. The pot also keeps roots cooler, which helps indoors, where air can get dry and warm. With bright direct light and watering only after the soil fully dries, the plant stays compact and aromatic. Clay reduces the chance of fungal issues that commonly kill indoor rosemary. Over time you will notice sturdier stems and richer scent from the leaves. This plant responds best when the pot mimics its natural dry rocky environment. Jade plant thrives in clay pots because it needs fast drainage and dry roots to stay strong long term. Clay naturally pulls moisture out of the soil, which helps prevent root rot, a common issue that shortens jade plant lifespan indoors. Since jade stores water in its thick leaves, excess moisture actually weakens growth and causes soft stems. A breathable pot supports slower, steadier growth, which leads to thicker trunks and better branching over time. With bright light and watering every 2 to 3 weeks, the plant stays compact and upright. Clay also keeps roots cooler, which reduces stress during warm indoor days. You will notice firmer leaves and improved leaf shine when moisture stays controlled. This is a plant that clearly shows the benefits of being paired with the right pot. Pothos adapts well to clay pots because it likes soil that stays lightly moist, but never waterlogged. Clay helps release excess moisture, which improves root oxygen and reduces the chance of rot that commonly affects pothos in plastic containers. Studies on tropical foliage plants show better root mass development when soil dries slightly between watering cycles. The breathable pot also keeps roots cooler, which supports steady leaf growth indoors. With bright to medium indirect light and watering once the topsoil dries, the plant grows fuller and trails more evenly. Clay reduces fertilizer salt buildup, which keeps leaf tips from browning over time. You will see stronger vines and richer leaf color when moisture and airflow stay balanced. This setup allows pothos to grow fast without becoming weak or stressed. Pilea is well suited for clay pots because it prefers lightly dry soil and steady airflow around its shallow roots. Clay helps moisture evaporate naturally, which prevents the root rot that often slows Pilea growth indoors. Research on compact houseplants shows improved root health when pots allow better oxygen exchange, and Pilea responds with faster leaf production. The pot also stabilizes soil temperature, which supports consistent growth in indoor rooms. With bright indirect light and watering only after the topsoil dries, the plant stays compact and upright. Clay reduces salt buildup, which keeps leaves crisp instead of curling or spotting. Over time you will notice stronger stems and more balanced coin-shaped foliage. This is a plant that stays healthier when the pot helps control moisture instead of trapping it. These plants prove that the right pot can make a real difference in how indoor plants grow and stay healthy. When you match breathable clay pots with plants that love airflow and controlled moisture, you get stronger roots and better-looking leaves. Small changes like this reduce common problems and make plant care easier over time. If you enjoyed this list and want more practical plant tips like this, hit subscribe and give the video a like. Drop a comment and tell me which plant you grow in clay pots or plan to try next.